I am Jim Collison, and this is the CliftonStrengths Podcast, Season 2, recorded on April 4th, 2023. In this CliftonStrengths Podcast series, we look at the CliftonStrengths for Leaders report, one theme at a time, and today's theme is positivity. If you're listening live, love to have you join us in the chat. If you're listening after the fact and you have some questions, you can always email us, coaching@gallup.com. Dr. Jaclynn Robinson is our host today. She works as a senior learning and development consultant and joined me for Season 1 of the CliftonStrengths Podcast, where we looked at the book Well-Being at Work, still very valuable and a very good season. If you haven't listened to it yet, one theme at a time. But Jaclynn, always great to have you. Welcome back.
Thank you.
We are spending some time talking about positivity today. Why don't you give us that definition? What do we think about when we think about positivity?
We think about contagious enthusiasm. You are upbeat and can get others excited about what you are going to do if you are a person that has this high.
I love that idea of you get others excited. And in some regards, I'd almost replace that with you get others encouraged. Like you
hmm
you you build in this, because I think sometimes and in some cultures we've biased this theme towards this idea of being positive or being overly positive or not
hmm
thinking through all the way. Some English words like Pollyannish, which nobody remembers anymore, but being positive for positive sake, right? And then
hmm
I don't think that's what we mean. Is if you were to build out that definition just a little bit more when you think about it, and you've got it 4. When you think about it, how do we use positivity before we ask this question about using it in a leadership role? How do you
Yeah.
think just generally that fits in for you?
Um, I think there's just an inherent feeling that life is good. We're breathing
Mhm.
oxygen every day. That always gives us an opportunity to do something that we love or to encourage somebody. From a workplace or successful or productivity standpoint, I think you've hit the nail on the head. Where if we extended that definition out, it's encouraging other people and
Mm,
getting them
yeah.
engaged about what it is that we're going to do together or what that person's going to do. It's championing people in the workplace, which
Mhm.
can help build morale. So, yeah, I think inherently you're just like, "Ugh, I'm happy to be alive." But
Mhm.
from a productivity standpoint, it really can encourage people. And I liked
Yeah.
what you said, encourage and engage. I think are two really good words there.
I was listening to a podcast about endurance racers, folks who do things, these long races for endurance. And
hmm
they did a study on this over time, and they realized that because of some of these races, they actually encourage you to do it by yourself. It's one of those things like no help, no outside help
Oh
at
gosh,
all.
I'd be
And
so bored so fast.
yeah, right.
Just
Well,
me not having other people around also running towards the
exactly.
same goal.
Yeah, exactly. And they
Wow.
found there's a performance hit, no, a performance boost, just knowing there's going to be somebody at the next stage. Like when you get to, there's
There
going
we
to be
go.
somebody there, even if they can't help you,
Yes.
knowing there's going to be somebody, performance boost. And I think that works in the workplace as well, knowing we're going into, or for remote situations or whatever, where I've got folks I can reach during the day or whatever, right? I mean, I think
hmm
it gives us a performance boost. And that's why we do these things, is for for performance, right? In what we're doing. Okay, we've been spending this season thinking about this in the context of the Clifton Strengths for Leaders report, a role-based report we launched this year. What is the power of this theme as we think it in the context of a leadership role?
Yeah, a leader with this theme can bring hope to the organization. So I'm going to get into the 4 needs. They can bring hope to the organization by really infusing energy into the mission and goals of the company. They help people see the positive impact they're creating. Even during times of stress and change, which we've seen a lot of in the last few years, this is a person that can calm the anxiety of the employees and really help them see that, hey, it's okay. We've got this. There is a way through. So it's hope that what we are doing today or what we're going through today, it's okay. We're going to have a better
Yeah.
tomorrow.
Since you've brought those in, hope, stability, compassion, and trust, the 4 needs of followers is what we say in our strengths-based leadership work.
hmm
That construct. I often think of it in terms of this bringing stability, right? Think about these times when you're just
It's a
beat
good
down.
one.
It's been a long day. And without that encouragement, you may spin off into into negativity or downness, whatever you want to call that, right? I'm feeling
Mhm.
down. I'm just going to go home, right? Instead of sticking it out to get to the end, like no, and creating a stable or at least a more stable environment, right? Just love
Mhm.
thinking about that in that context of
It's
helping
really good.
people finish to the end with that endurance race idea that I mentioned a little bit earlier. When we think about this theme leading others, how can this theme lead others?
Well, others might see the negative in a situation, but
Mm,
this leader can really encourage new ideas, thoughts, and solutions that can help fuel creativity. And when you're doing that, you can start to break through barriers or come up with new marketplace solutions. So, through their lens on life, they can boost morale, they can boost recognition, creativity, productivity, just by that encouragement of let's just think 3,000-foot view, high level. What are some ideas we have? We got
mhm,
this. Let's get through it. And it takes people out of that ground level way of thinking or being in the weeds, as we say in the US.
mhm. Yeah, I love that idea of boosting morale. I mean, there's just
Mhm.
moments, right, where we're just like, I'm at the end. And maybe you are, but in some cases, maybe you're not. We think
Mhm.
that. And then someone comes by, how are you doing? And then you have
Yes.
this conversation and they're like, oh, let's look at some things in a different light, however that works. And then
Yes.
they
They're just
walk
giving that
away and you're like,
energy to you.
hey, yeah, just let me just
Whew,
give it to
I'm
you.
vibrating higher now.
Here you go. Here you go, type deal. So I love
Sweet.
that, right? Again, back to that idea, that word of encouragement. I've been spending a lot of time thinking about this idea of different languages and translations. And I love
Mhm.
that idea. We're doing that right now. We're translating this even in English to say, yeah, we say positivity, but an outcome of it is really encouragement, right?
Mhm.
Two different words that have similar meanings, but different ideas in the way they're executed.
Mhm.
I think one is a state, I think the other's an action. And
Oh,
so
that's good.
right,
Yes.
thinking
You
through
and
that.
your words. You and
Yeah.
your words, sir.
Doris
Talent in
Collison would be
action.
Doris Collison would be very proud that her son who failed his freshman English class now is being complimented for words. Thanks for doing that.
You need to
Also,
write a book. I'm
oh,
encouraging you to write a book now. We
that's
need your words and phrases.
never going to happen. As we spend some time thinking about this, there are some hindrances, right? How could this theme
Mhm.
hinder your leadership of others?
Well, while recognition can help people see the value they contribute, there's still going to be times as a leader when you might need to provide constructive feedback just so someone can enhance their performance and productivity, difficult as it may be. So that's something that leaders with positivity might struggle with. But what other theme can you use that's going to help you? And can you see the benefit of providing that constructive
Mhm,
feedback?
mhm,
And then along those same lines, leaders or employees might be leery of communication that's always optimistic or positive or encouraging. There might be times when a leader with positivity just needs to allow for different feelings to be observed and felt before getting into a more positive solution focused mindset.
mm.
So, toxic positivity, people, not a good thing. We want people to have their experience and then you can, turn the tables and say, "Let's think through this. Let's see how we can get you through
Yeah,
this."
and a fine line between those 2. Like, I don't know if anybody can tell you where that line is drawn. I mean, you gotta get
Mhm.
feedback from people.
Mhm.
You have to have self-awareness around it. This is where as a leader, a 360 might be valuable. Like, "Hey, how is my positivity being perceived?"
Mhm.
Right? Asking to those
Yes.
and then getting honest answers. This project I'm working on months ago, and I started prepping the team for it. I said, "Guys, while we're doing this, it's gonna get really dark. There's gonna be some times where it's going to be hard. Just we need to buckle down and be ready for that. At the same time, it's going to get better. We're going to do this together and it'll be fine. We're going to get this right. But we got to get through the hard stuff to get to the good stuff. And I think that's the way we don't. I mean, I could have come out and said, "Oh, it's going to be awesome. This is awesome every day. We're just having challenges today. It's still awesome." No, it's terrible. There's moments where it's terrible, and I think we need to be able to say, "Yeah, this is awful. let's not do this again. How do we fix this so it doesn't have to
Yes.
be that way, right? But
And
knowing the
even
outcome.
delivering that is sounds encouraging.
Yeah. No, right on. Right on. Yeah. And just people are like, well, you would
Oh,
say
it's
that?
funny.
Yeah, of course I'd say that. There's times it's not easy. Like, let's not say it's not. Let's not say that. We got to get
Mhm.
through those times. This is going to
For
be
sure.
difficult. Mile 20 in a marathon is awful. Like
Yes.
there's no easy way to say it. It's terrible.
It
But you
hurts.
got to push through it because you have 6 miles to go, right? You have 6 miles to go to get that done.
To get
Sorry
that
for
one.
my metric system friends, whatever that works out to in meters or kilometers. We've been spending some time thinking about this in the context of our other two role-based reports, Clifton Strengths for sales, Clifton Strengths for managers. So
Mhm.
Jaclynn, what could it look like? And I pre-read this, so I'm pretty excited about it. What does this
Yeah.
look like when we think about Clifton Strengths for leaders, Clifton Strengths for sales reports, jamming those two together?
Yes. So we're jamming them together. This sales leader can do well at taking a customer problem and then delivering an inspiring message of how their company can positively impact their respective problem. Where others see the problems, this individual is going to see the opportunity. And that's where they can start to shift that, um, the way that it's seen, and start to create that relationship with the prospect or the client they're speaking with. I would say, in addition, grounding this message in either an architected solution of how that obstacle will be an opportunity is key, or highlighting the customer milestones and accomplishments if the work's already started, just to highlight that hope and the change.
Mhm.
So it's not just, this is going to be great, this is an opportunity, let's all for it, but how are we going to do that, or how are we seeing
Yeah.
progress?
Yeah. And let's be really clear here. Positivity without honesty or integrity, it is suspect, right? This is where I
Hmm.
think it gets a bad rap in this is if you start just making things up in the cycle. I mean, it has to come with honesty, right? It has to be
Yes.
played out with integrity in that and values. I think sometimes
Yes.
it's just like if we're just shoveling pure positivity and not addressing the issues, that's not the point, right? That's not the
Hmm.
success factor in it. That's what I kind of, especially in sales, you know. You just well,
Yes.
if you just would buy our product or if you would just take our solutions, okay. I mean, that may be the case, but is it like can't be
Yeah.
selling just
What's
to
the
be
why? What's the
yeah.
how, to your
Yeah.
point?
Right, right. Solutions, right.
Yes.
Yeah, not seats, but solutions. Okay. Although it may be
Exactly.
seats that lead to solutions. So we can say it that way. When we take the manager report, jam that together with the leader report, what do we see there?
This people leader brings energy and enthusiasm to the team. So, through the recognition that they freely give, that upbeat attitude they're coming to work with, and the ability to see the positive amidst problems, they can really help team members believe in themselves and their ability to overcome obstacles.
Yeah.
I can see a lot of solution focused minds on this team.
I think
You know,
managers get battered the most in organizations, especially those middle managers.
hmm
They take it from both the bottom and the top and just get smushed. And I think
yes.
this is an area we know from our Q12 data that managers as a group are the least engaged out of anybody, right? They really, really struggle
hmm
with that. And so this is, I think, is an area for leaders with high positivity. You've got to use your superpower. You have to. You cannot hide it. It needs to come out. You need to figure out a way to make it successful for teams.
Yeah.
And I think it's one of those solutions that we got to get to. And it's hard. I get this. I get it. Man,
hmm
I get it. I've been there. I'm in it. I'm in it with you.
I'm in the muck.
Um, yeah, yeah,
Yes.
no. Jacqueline, as we think about wrapping this theme up, and we'll do a season wrap here for those listening live next week. But as we think about wrapping up positivity, what would you say here, just to kind of put a bow on it?
Well, if you have positivity, you might resonate with this question. If you don't, it's a good way to start to infuse positivity in. But I'll leapfrog off of what you just said. So, um, this might be a really, fruitful time to ask in one-on-one conversations and in team meetings, what's the best day at work look like for you? What are you doing? How are you feeling? Who are you with? Let's think about how we can give you more of those best days at work, doing more of what you love, to start to amplify morale and productivity. As a team, when have we had the most fun and engagement as a team?
Mm.
How do we get back to that? Especially if they used to be on site and now they're remote or they're hybrid. How do we make sure we still have that cohesion and camaraderie and we're championing one another, and just asking for those ideas? So, to your point, this is one that managers can really lean into, and it's one that would benefit all employees and teams right now. Of work should be fun. We always say that work should be
Mhm.
fun. You're going to get more done if work is fun. You're going to be more engaged. You're reducing burnout. So either of those questions could be good, to take with you and just have as homework in your next one-on-one or team meeting. What's the best day at work look
Mm.
like for you?
Yeah.
When are we having the most fun and engagement as a team?
And I think success looks a lot like fun for most people, right? Even
Mhm.
there's different ways people have fun. I think fun is not just
Yes.
laughing and goofing around. I think sometimes it gets misrepresented
Yes.
that way. But for I
Yes.
think a lot of people, being successful is fun, right?
Mhm.
It's one of those things like
A learning
satisfying. Yeah,
experience, or yeah, so I'm
satisfying.
glad you brought that up because
Yeah.
it does look so different.
No, super good. Well, with that, we'll remind everyone to take full advantage of all the resources we have available now in Gallup Access. Go out to gallup.com/CliftonStrengths. Log in with your Gallup ID, upper left-hand corner, choose resources, then put this theme in. And we have tons of information out there about this. So get out there, get it done. Sign up for all the webcasts that we're doing here in the future. Create an account at gallup.eventbrite.com. Follow us there, and you'll get an email anytime we post something new. Join us on any social platform by searching Clifton Strengths. And thanks for listening today. If you enjoyed it, and why wouldn't you share it? We'd love to have you share it around to your groups, those you coach, whatever. I mean, just use it. Make it available to others as well. Hit like and subscribe and all those other things so you never miss an episode. Thanks for listening today. If you're out in the with the live group, stay around for a little bit of a post show. With that, we'll say goodbye, everybody.